Hey guys, it's Deltia from deltiasgaming.com here to bring you a guide about how I go about crafting gear for a specific build that I have in mind. This build I'm about to roll out is Bubble Trouble. After about 40, 50, maybe even 100 hours of gameplay, I finally have a good idea of what I need to make gear-wise. So besides picking the abilities, doing all sorts of things with coming up with the name, all that sort of thing, that's something else for another guide. This is after I've decided what I want to do and how to use gear to kind of support that. So first off, the build that I'm going to use usually centers around one specific ability. Bubble Trouble for this is a Sword and Shield, Blazing Shield, number 4. What this is going to do is basically do spell damage back to people that are nearby. Low magic cost, it hits like a truck, but it's based on my health. It's based on my health. So, what does that tell you? I need to center my gear around two things. One, health, being really high so it can do more damage. And two, spell damage, so that way it reflects and does a whole lot of damage back to the enemy. Now, I'm going to be rolling out in PvP, so a couple of things to know about PvP. Almost everyone has Impenetrable on their gear. Impenetrable has resistance to crit, it's the trait. So I'm not going to use a lot of spell crit, because I'm just going to assume people are immune to it. That way I can focus on spell damage, health, and then a lot of stamina. So for this build, I have this Blazing Shield, I have Unstoppable, which is the heavy armor skill, that way I can be unCCable. So the idea here is have a lot of health, run in, and make them attack you. That's the whole premise here. So, let's look at some of the stats I have. This is my stats by default. I'll take you to the skills in a second. I usually run something like this if I'm going to do PvP, because I'm going to need magic and stamina, especially for tanking. It's one of the harder things to prepare for as a PvP build that tanks, Sword and Shield, because you have to use all the stats, not just one stat. So, a couple things to go over. You're going to need a lot of magic, but really you're going to need high magic recovery. The pool of magic isn't necessarily the most important thing. It's the magic recovery that is. Health recovery, I don't really need a lot because I can heal. As a Templar, I can self-heal without a restoration staff, and in this build I am using a restoration staff too. So there's a bunch of different ways I can heal. Not too worried about health recovery. Max health. I'm going to need to max that out. Right now it's at 2300. The soft cap is 31. I'm going to try to get it to 3100 and about 3600 in PvP. Now I'm at VR 10 right now, as you can see. So VR 14, you might even expect 100 or so more. When I say soft cap, what I mean is it's at 2376. This add-on I have, soft cap info, tells me at my level when diminishing returns start. That's 3100 essentially for this. So that's what this yellow number is. What it means to us is you don't want to go too far over that because you're wasting stats. That's all it means. Next up is stamina. It's PvP. You got to have a lot of stamina or a way to get around stamina. So for me, stamina is very important. Once again, it's not the pool so much as the recovery and getting it back after a while. So we're going to have to tinker with this to get this up, and also maybe the pool stamina up a little bit. Spell damage. This is how much damage I'm going to do to the enemy, so this is very important, but I have a trick for that. Spell crit, I don't really care about that. I'm going to keep it low since we're doing PvP. Resistance is important, but not too important for me because I'm using some heavy armor, a bunch of light, and then also I'm going to use immovable. And I'm going to have that bubble up almost all the time. So you can see if I have that up, I'm really overcharging armor and spell resistance. So don't worry about that. Weapon damage, most of my damage is going to come from spells, not too worried about that. Weapon crit, who cares? Okay, so first things first, I got the PvP bonuses. You can't rely on it too much, but let's just assume that that's what we're going to be at. I don't think we have all of them, and you can go check by pressing the L campaign by default. I set mine to Hatteras. I'm on the Aldemary faction. Usually we have almost everything, and we do almost have everything in the scrolls. So, first thing I do when I'm doing these builds is I eat food. This gives me a realistic picture of my stats right now. Then I take some notes. So food, I'm sitting at 2600 health. Okay, so really I need about 600 health or so to get to the soft cap. Now let's go look at our actual sets that we're using. For this set, I'm using kind of something weird here. A 5-piece Soul Shine. That gives me, while casting or channeling, my spell power is increased by 23. Interesting. Why casting or channeling? So if I'm casting Blazing Shield, guess what? Spell damage is right at that 127 mark, almost. Just a little bit under it. So I'm going to get the maximum benefit for spell power. That's why I went with this. It's also heavy, 2 pieces only. So why did I go with that? Because it goes really well with the immovable, which gives me basically 10 seconds of unCCable. Costs a lot of stamina though, but that's okay. The whole point is we're going to try to get my stamina recovery up enough so that way when I use it, it comes back by the time it's done. Okay, next set is the Seducers. Now this isn't fully maxed out yet. I'm going to have to do that later, but 5-piece Seducers on the other pieces, and it's light. Why light armor? That's where our spell regeneration or damage comes from, and you're going to be casting a lot. This build doesn't focus too much on stamina, and a lot of the passive the Templars have is good for that anyways. So I got a 5-piece, so Soul Shine's on the neck, rings, then the other 5 pieces here. Then I went with the 2-piece Lord set. Another Magicka recovery set, so that adds a lot. That's kind of the sets that I have. Now let's go back to our food. So we got food. Next thing I do is Mundo Stone. Now, I'm using the lady right now. That's not advantageous for us because we said earlier we're going to use some other things to get our armor up. So we don't really need armor. What we need is stamina recovery. Ironically, there is no stamina recovery Mundo Stone, but there is a Mundo Stone for Magicka recovery. Well, Delta, you told us earlier we don't want more magic recovery. True. But we can swap out some glyphs for a Mundo Stone and basically even out our numbers a little bit. So what I'm going to go do is grab this Mundo Stone over here, the Atronach. Then I'm going to switch out some glyphs. This is kind of the part about mid-maxing that takes a while. When I get a new build, it takes me 100 hours to really get everything ironed out. And now I've already saved you all the time of me going around fighting and seeing if it works or not. It does work. Now I just need to optimize my gear. So there's kind of 3 recipes to being a good player. 1 is skill and knowing your class, 2 is your gear, and then 3 is your setup. If you get all those together, not one can make you a great player. You could be the best player in the world, but if you don't have to gear yourself, you're not going to be able to shine. If you don't have the right skills and know how to use them, you're not going to be able to shine either. Okay, increase Magicka recovery. Let's make sure it took it. Yep, so I'm way overcharged. That's okay, we're going to get that straight. I still have my food, Atronach bonus, we're looking good. So now, we have some green items. When I say green, is the quality. I can upgrade those and you're going to get even better effect, but let's just keep it at what it is for now. So, got the 5, got the 5. What we really need to do here is maximize our health. So we're going to have to go make some glyphs. Luckily, this guy is my enchanter, so I can make pretty much anything. And there's also a way that if you can't make anything, you can kind of cheese it to go get some glyphs. So, depending on your VR level or your level period, you can always buy glyphs, health, magic, and stamina from the vendor. Each vendor has white glyphs, or basically low quality glyphs. What I like to do first is go in there, put a couple white glyphs in, see what my numbers are. I leave a little room because I know if I'm going to make legendary or really nice ones, it's going to be better. So let's kind of give you an example what that looks like. For me, I'm VR 10. But the gear that I'm wearing is in between VR 7 and 9. So I'm actually going to have to go to Stormhaven here. And that's in the Cadwell's Gold. I haven't even cleaned Wayrest out. Well, anyways, Wayrest is usually where I go buy them before I reach Craglorn. If you're using VR 10 or above, it's Craglorn for almost everyone, no matter regardless of the faction. Do I have a list of every single place you can go buy glyphs? No, I don't. That would be something nice for me to make in the future. Okay. So you get here to whatever city is like the main hub in the area. You can buy them a couple different places. There's Enchanters or the Mages Guild, whichever you like. You can also buy decent rings to enchant there too if you need to get rings. I have a set bonus piece, so I don't do that. You really want to pick a set that has rings and necklaces involved. That way you can run 2 5-piece sets and get 2 huge bonuses. Okay, so you go up to the person named Enchanter. You buy an enchantment. That's it. And they have actually a bunch of different ranges. So 5 to 7. Should have 7 to 9 here. And then even endgame. So that's pretty good. So let's just buy some health ones here. I don't know why there's a bunch of different variations here. One costs more and does the same. Okay. So we said we need about 600 health, so I'm just going to buy 5 or 6 glyphs here and just see what we get. So there's three large pieces. What I said by large is you get more stats out of them. It's the head, which already has health, the chest, which already has health, and the legs, which already has health. So it looks like we're good on those. The shoulders doesn't have anything yet, and it is VR10, so I'm going to have to buy a different glyph. See, this is why it's a process. It takes a minute to get this all sorted out. Okay, so we got hit that enchanted. Looks like the gloves have stamina. We don't need stamina, we need health. So put that in. See, it only gives me 44 health when it said it was going to give me 100 and some. That's because it's a small piece. Adds 31 stamina. When we actually enchant it, gives us 44. So that's why you want to get the most important stats you want to put in your 3 large pieces. Okay, let's check our health out now. 2,800. So we're going to have to get that up somehow. Whether we flip our Mundo Stone or not, we'll get that up somehow. Our shield also is what's considered a large piece. So that has, looks like 84 stamina. We can replace that. And look, we're almost at 3,100. Less than 100 health. We can get that some other way. So that's where we're at right now with health. Looks good. So let's check our enchantments over. That's the next thing to look at. Head, health, we need that. Mundus, can't change that. It's a set. Impenetrable, health, 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 health. So we're good there. Now, if we use different higher quality glyphs, you're going to get more health. So that's where we could make up 100 probably. Okay, so now our necks and rings, what do we got? We got magic recovery, and spell resistance. Well, I said we needed stamina recovery, right? Because we already have tons of that. So let's make some glyphs for that. So it's important to see what level gear you have. 9, 9, 7. So that's one specific enchantment different. That's the level 8. I forget if it's additive or negative. So go here. I'm going to make it blue quality. So that's reduced stamina cost. I don't want that. I want stamina regen. So adds 15 stamina regen. Let's craft 3 of these puppies. You don't have to sing along with them, but it is kind of fun. Okay, so we got these puppies fixed here. So we got really high overcharge on that, but not a whole lot of stamina regeneration. This is really going to get us in line. Chant, chant, chant. Now look at it. It brought us our magic down, but we're just right underneath the soft cap, and we're almost right underneath the soft cap in stamina regeneration too. So that way we can hold up that block, get that immovable up, and really only block when we need to. So that's how that's done. We still have tons of magicka, tons of health, tons of stamina. We're right where we need to be on spell power due to that 5-piece bonus. Now let's check our weapons. Our weapons cold damage. We don't want that. In fact, we want a bubble. You can get a bubble here. Forget which one we have to have. Grants a 114 point damage shield for 5 seconds just by attacking. So attacking in between is really beneficial. I like that on my weapon as a tank. Got that. And it's a VR10 glyph, so I enchanted it the wrong way. So it happens. That's okay. Get more stats out of VR10. Why didn't I wait till I'm VR14 to do this guide? Because I don't really want to wait another 4 levels. Ooh, enchanting 49. So we got that enchanted. We got our health on our shield. I already did this in a previous guide here for the restoration staff. Now we're not going to get the other magicka recovery bonus on this restoration staff, but that's okay. We're really using bar 2 just to get magicka and resources back, so the set bonus doesn't really apply that much, because really this is important when we're getting magicka back. That's what we need. So recap here. Now I look at my stats. I know that I can squeeze 100 more health by using better glyphs. I can also refine this stuff and make it better. I'm not going to make legendary gear because it's VR8. I'll probably wait till I'm VR14 to redo these 5 pieces. But the soul shine only goes up to 10. So I'd have to go farm a level 10, then upgrade it. So those ones can be upgraded, but you might want to wait to redo this cuirass here. The bands of soul shine also can be level 10. So that's going to give me some more stats there. Lord's Mail I think is only 10. I might be wrong there. But you improve that, you're going to get even more of a benefit. And so that's kind of where I'm at with this. I'm really just waiting to level up, redo my gear, maybe make it legendary, and do my enchantments. So that's kind of how I go about making my gear for these guides and stuff. So now I can go in and start playing around and killing people. Don't forget to dye your gear, because it didn't look this cool by default. Well, anyways, thanks for watching. I hope this was helpful. And feel free to subscribe, leave me a comment. Am I missing anything? Do you guys do anything different? Let me know. And thanks for always. Deltia out.